Alright, what's up, y'all? It's Wooly here. So I did want to cover my overall electric DPS build. I wasn't really planning on doing it, but a couple people have asked in-game specifically if I would cover electric precision. There's not really much to say about electric precision that, there's not 100 videos out there, but I figured we would go ahead and just do the whole build because I do have several armories for electric DPS, and as you probably know, I don't just run Prec and I don't just run Might. I run both, so I'll kind of discuss how I do that. But overall, that was precision AoE. So how we spec, we go to weapons expert, critical attack chance, critical attack damage, precision, and then I just put the rest into might and power, right? As far as the attack mods, it's going to be max damage in the hands, tumbling master in the feet. Nothing is really applicable for the leg, so it really doesn't matter. Penetrating strikes in the chest, berserker in the back, and then on the precision side, we do have relentless precision in the neck, circuit breaker in the head, and then of course blast adapter in the hands. Now, we do have it set up so we can switch on the fly as needed, right? And swap back. So how do we spec with our weapons? Well, we go through, we get the brawling and the martial arts mastery, right? Pretty straightforward. But we also go ahead and spec our dual wield in here because there's a lot of boss phases, or sorry, there's a lot of bosses that have add phases. And so you want to be able to switch on the fly. This is, stuff like ROEE, second boss on CTE, stuff like that, where you really need to be adaptable on the fly. You need to be quick. You need to get in and out of it, okay? And so it's pretty straightforward. I mean, the build is pretty straightforward. Tesla ball, wired, vortex trap, arc lightning, whirling dervish. So you go with these two, and then you circulate with this. And then, of course, you clip your Tesla ball with wired, right? Now, the one thing I did kind of want to emphasize here, of course, I don't have my OMAC on this character yet, but I will be getting it. So how I like to do it is I like to, typically start out with my OMAC, and then when that goes away, then I will use the trinket. So you don't want to stack them because, you can't, for one. So if you go into OMAC and you pop your regular trinket, it's going to take you out of it. So you run your OMAC till it's gone, and then you switch over to just a regular trinket. And then, of course, you pop your little pet, whatever you have. In this case, I run the Alfred box. So I swap my Alfred box with those two trinkets. The fourth thing that you're going to be swapping, and I got to give credit to my buddy Shark, who gave me the sauce on this one, is going to be the Redeemer's Potent Charm. Now, you can get this from Power Girl in the Watchtower. This is just a breakout trinket, and the reason that you use this is to just get out of stuff quicker. That's it. You just clip out of it. So, and then I am out of whatever I'm using. So if I'm just using Tesla ball, if I'm using wired, I can just get out of it, right? And then I do like to, let's say, on my rotation, I do like to go ahead and pop Tesla ball. I don't wait for wire to come up because Tesla ball does actively generate supercharge. It's, I want to say, the only dot in the game that generates supercharge. I may be mistaken on that. But if you watch it, it generates supercharge. So that's why you always run Tesla ball. No other dot that I can think of off the top of my head builds your supercharge in the same way. So you don't really need a supercharged generator on electric. Furthermore, the supercharged generator on electric is pretty trash. So we just choose to not run it at all. You don't really need it. As for my allies, I do run Black Adam as my combat to get the electrified enemies, making them vulnerable to electric effects. Right now I'm running Aquaman with the Seaside Restart, so using a supercharge ability reduces combat allies cooldown relative to the supercharge, in this case 5,000, so we get a 3-second cooldown when, to summon our combat ally, in this case Black Adam. So when I pop a supercharge, it takes 3 seconds off, right? So a pretty decent chunk. Of course, that's just him being at level 7. And then I do run Shazam. So activating an ally's combat ability grants 5% might, 2% precision, and some change for 30 seconds. So 30-second buff is pretty significant in terms of buff. Even if it's not incredibly high, that's still a buff. And that's pretty long. And it does not take you very long to get your circuit breaker back, especially if you were swapping in scrap. I don't have scrap on this character right now, but I will in the future. I'll get that back again, right? Artifacts, pretty much the same. Strategist card, transformation card, Quizlet. And then, of course, we are swapping Mercy, Dead King, Philosopher's Stone, Eye of Gemini, and then, everything else, right? The trinkets, which we already covered. So that's the Prec build in a nutshell, right? And then, of course, we do have our Flex Sodas. And if you're curious, for the affinity mods, Type A is going to be Might, Type B is going to be Precision. So it's the same thing in the generator. I've got 2 of the 46.4, I believe, whatever the ones you craft are. I have 2 of those for Prec and then 2 for Might. It's not a huge boost, but it's better than nothing. And it's not really going to cost you to sacrifice 2 of them. You're not really going to be hurting on your stats overall, because all that swapping that you're going to be doing is going to more than make up and overcompensate for anything, right? As for the Might side of things, right now, this is typically what I run in Omni. Like, let's say for Prec, that's strictly what I run in Elite, or if I just feel like getting a little sweaty in an Omni raid. Like, if I have a troll, like if I queue in and there's a good troll in there, I'll probably just stick to Prec the whole time. But more often than not, there's not. If I'm just like queuing with randoms, it's hit or miss if you're going to get a troll. And sure, you can get through the hallways and stuff pretty fine without a troll for the most part. But if I really do feel like I'm struggling, it's Omni. It's not going to be a big deal. I'll run this AoE Might build here. This is going to be very close up. As you can see, I'm still not running the supercharged generator, but I am running From the Shadows for Batman to really kind of enhance Whirling Dervish. So get the 7% might, 3.5% precision for the first 6 damage hits. So it's not significant. You could put Batman Who Laughs or whatever you want. I will talk about what I'm going to be changing that to soon, because this is a build I don't really run a whole lot. It's just kind of for fun. It does do pretty decent though, so and you just let Dervish run, and then you can spam Spark Barrage like that. And this would be one that would be really good to run with E-Bond. You would just replace, let me move out of here. You would just replace Electrogenesis with the finisher if you decided to run E-Bonds. So the setup is still the same as far as the artifacts, strategist card, transformation card, Quizlet. Like I said, if you had E-Bonds here, which is something I would run when I max it out, which I'm going to be doing, I'll be swapping this over to E-Bonds, taking out Quizlet, put it on E-Bonds, and then I'll be taking Electrogenesis off and putting the finisher on there to cancel out those stacks and reset, right? But we don't have that, so we're just going to be running what we got. So, of course, I have a second neck here, and it does have Escalating Might. Everything else is pretty much the same. You know, Circuit Breaker, Blast Adapter, because while we are doing our stuff in here, right? So we're always going to be weapon tapping in between our stuff. Now you can't even tell I'm doing it, but I'm weapon tapping. Weapon tapped right there before Dervish. So, like I said, this is what I run mostly in Omni, or where there's just not a troll available. This is my AoE build. It's just going to perform a lot better than anything else you can get on Electric overall, as far as, you know, Wall Take Bolt, Wall Take Blast. It's just the cheesy setup, okay? And then single target. Now the single target here, it's of course it's pretty much set up the same way, you know, same artifacts, same neck, stuff like that. If you have, if you want, you can just keep a stack of the tack mods so you can switch on the fly, but I'm too lazy for all that. So I'd rather spend, you know, what, the 30, 35 marks on the neck, whatever it is, I think it's 30, to just get a second one and switch it on the fly. I ain't got to worry about changing out the tack mobs. Just one last thing for me to swap right. And you can still use the same trick, use the breakout trinket to, you know, get out of Tesla Ball. Because that's the only thing I hate about Electric is Tesla Ball and Arc Lightning really leave you stuck in combat, and it can be pretty much a hassle. So this is why I choose when I'm going to run single target might, depending on how the raid is going, right? Like I may do this in CTE, but I keep dual wield on Prec just in case. So I have several options on how I want to approach an attack, you know? And that's pretty much it. So the ally is going to be the same as the Prec allies here, the only difference being crypto for the single target. We have Aquaman again, same thing. Shazam, same thing. I'll probably never take off Shazam. It's just too good. A 30-second buff is just way too good. What I do plan on replacing Aquaman with, just so you guys are in the know, and I'm at least going to be doing this on the Prec side. I don't know if I'll do it on the Might side yet for a single target, for sure on the AoE. But what I'm replacing Aquaman with is it's going to be static. So I'm going to be getting static, and I'm going to be running the electric overcharge, where using a supercharge increases critical ability and critical weapon chance for 10 seconds relative to the supercharge cost. So for 10 seconds, we can get a 6% critical attack chance. So pretty significant. And that's what I'm hopefully getting him later today, and then I could start leveling him up. So I use all my ally XP to get Shazam up to the level 9. to get the most out of it, right? So that's my build, guys. As far as what I'm running, I just kind of wanted to get through this very quickly, which is why we didn't spend a lot of time going through the rotation. But as far as the prec rotation, I mean, it's the same across the board for any electric precision DPS, so it's not really a whole lot to cover it. As for the single target, you always start out with Tesla Ball, you go into Heat Vision, Arc Lightning, Ionic Drain, and then rinse and repeat. And that's it, right? As for, oh, sorry about that. Got to put my phone on silent. As for the AoE melee here, I guess you'd call it, you kind of stagger your dots. It'll keep your partials a little bit higher. So Tesla Ball, go into Whirling Dervish, come out with Electrogenesis, and that's it. So you only use Spark Barrage here between Dervish and everything else pretty much. So you start with Electrogenesis, you go into Dervish, you come out of it with the weapon tap, and then you go into Electrogenesis. And then you go into Sonic Cry, and usually you can hit Spark Barrage twice, right? So it's pretty straightforward, right? And it's just something that's kind of fun to play. It's something I do sometimes, so it's not a build I use a whole lot, but I do use it occasionally. But really, if you're doing like Omni, which is where I mainly use it, you can get by with just strictly just the single target. So if you don't have 4 armories, that's fine. You can just do the prec, and you can just do the single target, and the single target will get by just fine. It doesn't matter a whole lot in Omni raids, right? You're not going to suffer too much on AoE between Tesla Ball and Arc Lightning. It does a fair amount, but it's a good alternative if you don't have multiple armories for DPS builds. Okay. Yeah, so that's it, guys. I just wanted to go ahead and just show you what I'm using. There's plenty of other builds out there if you want to look around. I'm just showing you what I'm specifically using. Whether or not you use it is up to you, but it does perform very well. So I ain't got much else to say about it. If you're new to the channel, consider sticking around. Say what's up. If you are a returning viewer, as always, I appreciate it. Much love. I'll catch you next time. We'll be out. Stay frosty. Peace.